everybody, it's the Lawn Gnome and welcome to another DCU update. I am very glad to be back to continue on the conversation that started just a couple of weeks ago, following up on the second installment of the brand new DC animated film two-parter, and that of course is the continuation of the 41st film in the DC animation library, Batman the Long Halloween Part 2. I am going to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think this is going to be an extremely long review because what I pretty much got from the second part of this film is exactly what I thought I was going to get. We basically see the return of all of these characters and the revealing and discovering of the Holiday Killer is still something that Batman and Jim Gordon and Harvey Dent are still trying to uncover, but there is a very interesting twist in regards to the fact that while they're also trying to take down crime that is basically led by the Maroni and the Falcone families, it is now going from ordinary to extraordinary, where we are now seeing Carmine Falcone getting very concerned about the Holiday Killer, and he is now officially hiring some of Gotham City's most notorious, insane criminals that really give crime a brand new definition in the current Batman lore of this story, because if you do not recall what I said last time, this is actually supposed to take place a year after Batman's first year as Batman, so we really start to see the Rogues Gallery that is now iconic and legendary in Batman lore really taking shape. We are introduced to characters like Poison Ivy and the Mad Hatter and the Scarecrow, and the fact that we now see these two kinds of crimes colliding, we are clearly in an understanding as to what is going to win in regards to the battle of crime in Gotham City, but the question is, will the Holiday Killer actually be found? The animation is exactly the same. The voice acting is exactly the same, minus the few additions that we get in regards to the new characters. I think probably one of my favorite parts was John DiMaggio coming to voice the Mad Hatter. This was definitely something that came right out of the Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale comic. But, of course, like the first film, we got a couple of changes, even during the point in time where we see the origin of Two-Face show up, as well as the ending of the story as a whole. There are definitely some noticeable things that are changed for the purposes of cinematic value, and quite frankly, as someone who read this story 2 times before both of these films came out, I gotta say that even though there were changes, these changes were not necessarily things that took away from the original story, and I think for the purposes of visuals and cinematic value, they really made sense in regards to bringing this wonderful story from Batman's world to the small screen. There was great stuff here, the animation was beautiful, the acting was amazing, there were definitely some very creepy horror-esque themes just because of the fact that we were going to see the changes in crime to Gotham City. I think the scenes with Poison Ivy were definitely the creepiest, but it was just so beautifully done. If there was anything negative that I could actually say about this film, I don't necessarily think it is something that everyone would agree with, but these are just my own personal opinions. One of the things that I really did not like about this film was the fact that as the story progresses, we stop seeing the letters showing up on the bottom, signifying the holiday in which the Holiday Killer actually strikes. We see it basically at the very beginning when Poison Ivy's story is taking place, and after Poison Ivy's story is gone, we just don't see it. They do acknowledge the fact that there are some holidays that are happening and that the killings are still taking place, but we don't see that famous writing down somewhere in the middle or the bottom or the top of the screen, just signifying that the Holiday Killer struck again. I think it just took us out of that element that was really working very well with this film. And the one thing that really upset me was the fact that once again the Riddler got shafted. The Riddler actually has a very good role in the story in the books, particularly for the comic issue which is labeled April Fool's Day, and it was just really upsetting to me that Riddler just doesn't seem to really be taken seriously in regards to any of these Batman films. They kind of ruined him with Hush, And I just wish that the Riddler could be one of those villains just finally gets taken seriously, because I think he is definitely the best Batman villain that Batman has. I just love the fact that all he wants to do is outsmart Batman. That's his overall goal. He doesn't want to kill him. He just wants to prove to Batman that he's smarter than him. And the fact that Riddler didn't even get a chance to even appear in this movie, and for some strange reason, a different villain in Batman's Rogues Gallery shows up, doesn't have much of a speaking role, but shows up at a point in the comic book where you're just saying, why is he even here? I just don't understand, because he wasn't even making those appearances in the comic book story itself. It just didn't make any sense to me at all. But another interesting thing that they did for this film is there is a post-credit scene, just like in the first one, but this is not going to lead into another Batman story. This is actually something that I did not see coming. It really reminds me of what exactly is happening right now with the DC animated films that have basically begun with Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Apparently, this brand new series of films is actually given a name. It's actually called Rebirth. So, as someone who was hoping there would be a Rebirth story coming to the DC animated library, this seems to be it, and I'm actually kind of excited with what is going to happen. If you did not see parts 1 or 2, there will definitely be a special edition Blu-ray or DVD that is going to basically combine these two films into one. And quite frankly, I just don't understand why they didn't just make this movie one big movie. It could have been a little over 2 hours, that's no big deal, but the fact that this specific story got split up was something that I don't really think worked. And it was definitely a satisfying end to this iconic story finally brought to life. Hopefully we all took something positive away from this and really did enjoy it for what it was. I certainly did. And that is actually going to put an end to all of the releases for the DC Animated Film Library for 2021, and I am really curious to see what we are going to have in store. We already know that one very interesting film is coming. It doesn't seem to be part of this brand new Rebirth continuity, but that's completely okay because this movie does absolutely look fantastic. So if you did enjoy the first one, I would definitely say part 2 is going to be something you will enjoy as well. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please leave your comments in the box below, and let's discuss Batman The Long Halloween Part 2, and I am looking forward to seeing you in the next one whenever that may be. Take care. If you enjoyed the video you just watched, feel free to leave a comment. Also, feel free to subscribe if you want to be up to date with our latest videos. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.